Hello and welcome to this presentation on grant opportunities from the National Endowment for the Humanities as part of the upcoming 250th birthday of our nation. My name is Stephanie Walker, and I am the Director of Challenge Programs at NEH. After a brief recap of NEH's America 250 activities, my colleagues Julie Carmine and Margaret Clare and I will introduce you to 4 active and upcoming grant programs: public humanities projects, education programs for landmarks and institutes courses, rediscovering our revolutionary tradition, and celebrate America. NEH is an ex officio partner of the America 250 Commission and of the White House's Task Force 250. In alignment with President Trump's executive order celebrating America's birthday and NEH's special initiative, A More Perfect Union, the agency has created a number of new grant programs and modified a number of existing programs to focus on the United States' rich history and national heritage. NEH has already been very active in the America 250 space. Julie will tell you more about the agency's contributions to the National Garden of American Heroes and public impact projects. In the humanities research arena, the endowment has run grant programs that support well-researched books for public audiences through the Public Scholars Program, and work compiling and editing the papers of 12 U.S. presidents through the Scholarly Editions Program. A recent $10 million grant to the University of Virginia Presidential Papers Project will accelerate public and scholarly access to these important records. Before we move on to individual programs, let me remind you that all the information in this presentation is included in the notices of funding opportunity for each of the grant programs. These important documents are posted on our website, neh.gov, and the federal grants portal, grants.gov. At this point, I will turn it over to Julie to say more about NEH's public and education programs for the 250th.
Thank you, Stephanie. Hello, I am Julie Carmine, a Senior Programs Officer in the Division of Public Programs at the National Endowment for the Humanities, and I'm pleased to be able to share funding opportunities from our Division of Public Programs and our Division of Education in honor of America's 250th anniversary. First, I would like to share about the public humanities projects. As part of a More Perfect Union initiative, the Public Humanities Projects Grant Program supports projects that bring humanities to life through public programming. Projects must engage humanities scholarship to analyze specific themes in disciplines such as history, literature, ethics, and art history. Awards are to reach broad and diverse public audiences in non-classroom settings in the United States. Projects should engage with ideas that are accessible to the general public and employ appealing interpretive formats. All projects must focus on one of the following topic areas: the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence, American military valor, the American dream and economic freedom, or America's role on a global scale. 2 categories, historic places and exhibitions, at 2 funding levels, planning and implementation, are supported by this grant. Proposed projects may include complementary components. For example, a museum exhibition might be accompanied by a website or mobile app. Projects may be international, but must include audiences in the US, and grant funds may not be used to support presentation of content to audiences outside the US. They may be national, regional, or local in focus and should reach a broad public audience. We welcome projects tailored to particular groups, such as families, youth, including K-12 students in informal educational settings, underserved communities, and veterans. Small and mid-sized organizations are encouraged to apply if their projects address topics of regional or national relevance by drawing connections to broad themes or historical questions. The maximum award amount for planning is $75,000 and for implementation is $750,000. The expected output is exhibitions or interpretive plans. The period of performance for planning is up to 24 months and implementation 12 to 48 months. The deadline is September 10th, 2025. Expected notification date is April 30th, 2025, and the project start date may range from May 1st through November 1st, 2026. The Notice of Funding Opportunity and application information may be found on the National Endowment for the Humanities website, NEH.gov. Under Public Humanities Projects, 30 grants will be awarded totaling $6 million. There are 2 additional public programs in honor of America's 250th anniversary. One is Public Impact Projects. The application window has closed for public impact projects for the 250th anniversary of America. $200,000 grants in support of public interpretation of the founding era. And we are pleased to be making those awards, which will be announced to participants and recipients later this fall. And the second is the National Garden of American Heroes Statues Fellowship Awards. This fellowship program supports the design and creation of classical statues of historical figures from America's past who have contributed to our cultural, scientific, economic, and political heritage. These sculptures will be placed in the National Garden of American Heroes with a groundbreaking on July 4th, 2026. The first round of statue applications by sculptors have been received and are being reviewed, and a second opportunity with a set of guidelines will be posted on the NEH website this fall of 2025. If you have questions about applying to sculpt a statue, please contact us at statues@neh.gov. Next, from our Division of Education, we are offering 2 funding opportunities in honor of America's 250th. One is Landmarks of American History and Culture for K-12 and higher education. The NEH Landmarks program supports a series of 1-week residential, virtual, and combined format workshops across the nation to enhance and strengthen how K-12 educators, higher education faculty, and humanities professionals incorporate place-based teaching and learning in the humanities. This year's Landmarks program will seek to focus on understanding American history and culture. The maximum award amount is $200,000, and the award period is 15 months. Applications to attend in 2026 will open December of 2025 and be available through March of 2026. Applications to lead in 2027 is available with an anticipated deadline of, applications to lead in 2027 open November 2025 and are available through February 2026 with a deadline of February 11th, 2026. You may contact us at education@neh.gov for more information. Second is the Institutes for K-12 and Higher Education. The NEH Institutes program supports professional development programs that convene K-12 educators and higher education faculty from across the nation to deepen and enrich their understanding of significant texts and topics in the humanities, working with scholarly experts to enhance their capacity for effective teaching and scholarship. The maximum award amount is $200,000. The award period is 15 months. Applications to attend in 2026 begin December of 2025 and close March of 2026, and applications to lead an institute in 2027 will be available on November of 2025 and will close February of 2026 with an anticipated deadline of February 11th, 2026. Again, you may contact us for more information about this at education@neh.gov. We will offer 13 institutes and 6 landmarks programs next summer, which will provide professional enrichment and research opportunities to educators on topics such as the history of Florida's Space Coast, Emily Dickinson's poetry, the music, history, and culture of the Mississippi Delta, and the ancient Olympics. The notice of funding opportunity to run programs in summer of 2027 will post on the NEH website for both programs this fall. Institutes and landmarks participants receive a stipend to help offset travel and lodging costs. We look forward to receiving your applications for these various public and education-focused funding opportunities honoring our nation's special commemoration year. And now, my colleague, Margaret.
Thank you, Julie. Hi, my name is Margaret Walker-Clare, and I am the Deputy Director in NEH's Division of Preservation and Access. In honor of the semi-quincentennial and our nation's founding principles of equality, liberty, and government by consent, we are running a new grant program titled Rediscovering Our Revolutionary Tradition. The program's purpose is to conserve, preserve, and make publicly available cultural heritage materials that shed light on the history of American independence, the establishment and expansion of the nation, and the history of American government at the federal, state, and local levels. These primary source materials could include archival records, rare publications, art, historical objects, photographs, and sound recordings. So what might you need to do to ensure a future for and enhance the research value of such items that reflect the establishment and expansion of our country and the history of its government? This program can fund a variety of activities, including conservation treatment and rehousing, arranging, describing, and cataloging collections, transcribing or translating documents or audio recordings, digitizing collections and providing metadata to make them accessible online, using advanced imaging, such as 3D or multispectral, to enhance the research value of primary sources, updating digitized resources that updating previously digitized resources, and developing indices and databases that codify information or aggregate selected materials. The focus of your work and its primary result should be the preservation or conservation of collections and their accessibility and utility for audiences that might include scholars, students, educators, and the general public. Your budget and work plan may include dissemination activities within reason. We expect that the outreach components accomplished during the period of performance would be preparatory and developmental, or associated with broader plans to mark the semi-quincentennial. Larger scale dissemination work, such as developing an exhibition or lesson plans, should occur after the project concludes. This program has two deadlines. The first is September 4th, 2025, for projects that could begin as soon as June 1st, 2026. The second is January 15th, 2026, for projects that could begin as soon as November 1st, 2026. Eligible institutions are allowed to submit one proposal at each deadline. For single institutions applying, the maximum funding amount is $350,000. For consortia, the maximum is $750,000. A consortium could be a long-established partnership among multiple institutions. It also could be a new partnership among just two institutions. All partners should participate in the work of the project. Attachment 5, Letters of Commitment, is required for any consortial application. If you have a Memorandum of Understanding or a similar document, you may include that in Attachment 7, Supporting Documentation. Finally, we recognize that these projects are complex. They take time. Your period of performance may be up to 3 years. If you expect some portion of your project to be completed or announced in 2026, please do provide those details in your application. Know that peer reviewers will not consider the availability of conserved or digital collections in 2026, but such information might be used in NEH's publicity related to America's semi-quincentennial. As with all NEH programs, please do read the Notice of Funding Opportunity closely for guidance on crafting your application, as well as funding restrictions, required attachments, and page limits. If you are considering applying and you have questions, or you would like to discuss your project ideas, please contact the division by emailing preservation@neh.gov. We will include this email address on the final slide of the presentation. And now back to you, Stephanie. Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret. So the Celebrate America program supports activities that honor the founding of the country and the principles of the Declaration of Independence. These grants fund a broad range of projects that benefit the American public. Supported activities include, but are not limited to, community events and family programs, exhibitions, permanent or temporary, including interpretation, digital projects such as virtual exhibitions, web content related to the 250th, or virtual tours, speakers, screenings, discussion series, and conferences, professional development and training, educational materials and curriculum development for K-12 and higher education purposes, and research leading to documentary films, exhibits, books, and other products that reach a general public. At the very bottom of the slide is a link that takes you to a list of awarded projects that provide some examples and initial orientation of the kinds of projects funded through Celebrate America. Please note that one area that is explicitly not funded is the creation or performance of art, For example, concert music and dance performances. How do these awards work? You can request up to $25,000 from NEH. And if you request $25,000, your total budget has to add up to $50,000. Why is that? It's because Celebrate America awards are matching grants. Any amount that you request has to be matched one-to-one with third-party, non-federal gifts equal to the amount you're asking from NEH. As part of your application, you will need to certify that your organization has those gifts in hand and identify the source or sources of these gifts. Cost-sharing staff time, allocations from your organization's existing budget, and in-kind gifts are all not eligible for the match in this program. You must raise the match from sources outside of your organization. How to apply? Applications will be accepted on a rolling basis throughout all of the calendar year 2025 and later if funding is available. To apply, you must be a registered 5013C nonprofit, an accredited institution of higher education, a state or local government, or a federally recognized tribal government. You must apply through the grants.gov portal. The Celebrate America webpage has all the resources you need, and the link is towards the bottom of this slide. I recommend starting there and reading the RFP or request for proposals and using the application tips document there as a guide to navigate grants.gov and submit your application. We look forward to seeing your proposals. Thank you all for listening. Here is the contact information for each of the grant programs once more. Please feel free to reach out to us with any questions. Thank you and goodbye.